political figure that you say embodies sort of your beliefs from a philosophical standpoint? Doctor?
Well, this is not a far throw for me, but I have to reference my dad. He lived to the ripe old age of 97, was writing books up until the time 2 or 3 months before his demise. He was a New York sports writer. He was an athlete at the semi-pro level, football and baseball. Quite a guy that I looked up to, and very politically involved. He was a member of the greatest generation. So from a standpoint of learning at his knee, literally, he's a guy that I really feel shaped my life and shaped a lot of the direction and a lot of what you hear coming out of my mouth. So I am sure that even though he's not with us physically right now, spiritually, he's very much a part of me, and he's very much my inspiration.
What about a historical political figure, if you could identify one?
Oh, let's see, historical figure. I probably would have to go back in time and look at maybe some of the creative souls of our past, not necessarily the political souls. Someone like Leonardo da Vinci, someone who experienced creativity in every way, shape, and form. I have a lot of respect for the sciences. I have a lot of respect for the arts. And I think that, again, and it taps into what we discussed earlier as far as some colleges and educations, I think we're misleading our youth by supporting certain degrees and programs that are going nowhere. And I think that if we start to use, again, common sense on the educational side and look at what we're producing for this younger generation, we might have to rethink how we look at secondary education as well.
Brian?
I would say on a personal level, my parents for sure. They are my heroes. Thankfully, they're still with us. They're both just recently turned 81 years old, and I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and I grew up in Levittown with not a whole lot of resources at our disposal. My mom, fortunately, was able to stay home with us and raise 8 kids, which turned into a bit of a zoo at some points, as you can imagine. And my dad went out and worked as a salesman, and amazingly was able to take care of all of us and give us what we needed, which was unconditional love. And they taught me the greatest lessons that I've ever learned in life, which is if you put other people's wants and needs on the front burner and your own needs on the back burner, it leads to a much more fulfilling life, and that's the lesson they taught me. As far as a historical figure, I would certainly say George Washington. He's always been someone that I've studied and respected for one reason only. I told everybody in this room earlier how important term limits are to me. George Washington set that tradition into play. He didn't want to be president for one term. All he wanted was to go back to his farm in Mount Vernon and live out his life. But he stepped up and served his country. They convinced him to do it a second time. He said no more. He set that tradition into place. It lasted all the way through FDR, who served 4 terms and died in office, at which point Congress went and passed the 22nd Amendment, limiting the president to 2 consecutive 4-year terms. So George Washington's always been my hero. He was a courageous leader and someone I've always looked up to.
Andy Warren?
First and foremost, family, and I'm not going to start picking family, but wife would be a nice place to start. I'll give you an author, and a coach, and a politician. John Howard Griffin wrote Black Like Me. When I was in college, I had the opportunity to take him around from Westminster, pick him up in Pittsburgh, and take him to the college. And I spent a weekend with him, and he had a great influence on me as to why, for years, I was a member of the NAACP, until we got to Black Lives Don't Matter. That's another story, another day. From John Howard Griffin, I also had Bob Richards when I was growing up. Bob Richards wrote a book, Heart of a Champion, and talked about athletes and how they are, and those two influenced my life. In that respect, my high school cross-country coach told me that showed me how I could live a Christian life without being a minister, where I was, if you could imagine me a minister, I was almost down that path, but I was steered away by my cross-country coach. And if I picked two politicians, it would be Lincoln and Truman. Lincoln for all the obvious reasons, Truman because Nobody ever gave him a chance to, thought he was gonna win, and he showed them all and won.
I think that we want to certainly give all the candidates a big round of applause. They did an outstanding job. We'll give you another chance to applaud the candidates right at the end, but we want to give each of them an opportunity to have some